All right, when Scott Strickland had a press conference at the University of Florida on Tuesday, September 27th, and it was made apparent to me that I would have a chance, an opportunity to interview for the athletic director's position at Mississippi State. I knew that I could not meet with Dr. Keenum or anybody else about this position without having a coaching candidate in my back pocket. I felt like that was really important. Mississippi State baseball is too important to not have that in place. And I want to tell you, for the last month, I've gotten to my office between 6 and 6:30. I have gone to D1 baseball. I've gone to several websites and looked at the coaches that represent 290 plus Division I programs in the country, assistants, head coaches, guys in professional baseball, guys in junior college baseball, guys at all levels of baseball. And once you looked at the needs of Mississippi State baseball, at this great institution, in this great league, it was apparent to me that we were going to have a pretty small pool of guys. We needed somebody that was going to have the ability to evaluate and recruit. We needed somebody who had a keen knowledge of the baseball game, keen knowledge of the game. We had to have somebody who had the ability to connect and teach student athletes. We had to have somebody who had a great path to get here in terms of role models. We had to have a guy who had an unbelievable knowledge of the Southeastern Conference. We had to have somebody who had an incredible rapport with professional baseball. We had to have someone who was known around the country and had a national reputation in collegiate baseball. We had to have somebody who was a relentless recruiter at the Division I and Southeastern Conference level. And we had to have someone who understood and valued education, not only for student athletes, but for himself and for his family. And after going through that criteria, I realized that Andy Cannizaro was going to be our guy. In terms of evaluating and recruiting, I think he's one of the best in the entire country, if not the best. And I had the opportunity this summer, because of the nature of our staff and the turnover of our staff, I got to spend a lot of time with Andy. And the way he broke down the game, the way he evaluated players, the way he approached players, I thought was outstanding. His knowledge of the game is outstanding. Perhaps one of the things that really struck me the most about Andy was the fact that not only did he have a tremendous knowledge, he had a thirst for more knowledge and searched out information, always wanting to get better. His ability to connect with student athletes, just reading the tweets that have come from LSU and from several folks around the country about what he has meant to them and the way he has connected with student athletes that he has worked with is really incredible. Andy played for a guy named Joe Madden, the manager of the Chicago Cubs. He played for a guy named Joe Torre. He worked with many of the people high up in the Yankees organization. Damon Oppenheimer, by the way, Damon Oppenheimer's with us today. Damon, if you don't mind standing up, from the New York Yankees, came all the way to visit us today. Let's give Damon a big hand. He worked directly with Brian Cashman, the general manager of the New York Yankees. He played for and was recruited by Jim Schlossnagle at TCU, then at Tulane, who has said tremendous things about Andy. And he played for Rick Jones, one of the great coaches in all of Division I baseball. One of the other unique things about Andy to me is this: the fact that he was a scout, a professional baseball scout for the New York Yankees. He covered this area of the Deep South. His connections with other scouts around the country and in our area, but also the fact that he had spent a ton of time in Dudy Noble Field evaluating our players and players around the Southeastern Conference. and then later being in the dugout, in the opposing dugout at Dudy Noble Field. So he has many different optic views of the Southeastern Conference. He's 7.5 years as a scout in our area and as a recruiting coordinator and assistant coach in the Southeastern Conference. His rapport with professional baseball, outstanding. I have tried, in an indirect way, I have tried to find folks in professional baseball who would say something bad about Andy. It didn't happen. It was amazing. Because had it been reversed, Andy could have found an unbelievable amount of people to say bad things about John Cohen, I can guarantee you that. But I couldn't find it, and I was amazed. In speaking to Andy, one word just keeps coming up over and over and over again when you talk to him, and that's opportunity. He kept saying what an incredible opportunity he had as a major league baseball player before getting injured. What an incredible opportunity he had as a collegiate player, and he was a great one. He was a two-time All-American, maybe one of the greatest players in Tulane history. He's in the Tulane Baseball Hall of Fame. He was an honor roll student at Tulane University, an outstanding academic institution. But more than anything, I look at the decisions that Andy has made. And I think one of the great decisions he has made, maybe the best, is the decision sitting 2 away from his wife, Allison, who is an absolute all-star. Allison, it's been great to get to know you. She will add so much to the Mississippi State family, the community of Starkville, and the state of Mississippi. I could stand up here all day and give you all the qualifications that Andy Cannizaro brings to this position, but I want to reiterate something. I told our club Friday afternoon, I reiterated this to them. They're not going to get a coach as good as John Cohen. We're getting a better one than John Cohen, there's no doubt in my mind. So at this time, I would like to introduce new baseball coach at Mississippi State University, Andy Cannizaro. I'm going to do this real quick and then I'm going to go off the stage. I'm going to give this to you real quick. Okay. And I'm not going to make the same mistake I made with my wife. I'm going to go ahead and give him a bell right now. And he's going to ring this sucker for you. Welcome aboard, Andy. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Hail State! Hail State. Wow. Wow. All right. Well, first and foremost, I just want to talk about how honored and how privileged and humbled I am to become the new head baseball coach at Mississippi State University. We're talking about one of the most prideful, one of the most tradition-based baseball programs in all of America. Whether you're talking about amateur baseball or whether you're talking about professional baseball, Mississippi State baseball is a national brand. It is a program that gets recognized from coast to coast. It's recognized by Major League Baseball all the way down to the travel ball baseball world. I'm extremely, like I said, honored to be the baseball coach here. We have a tremendous group of players a lot of which were part of the SEC championship team from a year ago. Our entire team is in the back of the room today, so I want to thank you guys for being here. I'm looking forward to being your head coach. I'm looking forward to leading you guys into the future, and I'm looking forward to having an amazing baseball season. Thank you guys for being here. I'd also like to thank the amazing turnout we have here today. I mean, I think it just continues to show how high of an interest level everyone has in Mississippi State baseball. So thank you guys for being here. I look forward to seeing you at Duty Noble this spring, and we can't wait to get after it with you guys in the stands. Thank you for being here. There's several people that I would like to thank that are here today that have a major, major role in my upbringing, in my young 20s, and now into my late 30s, basically having impacted my entire life. The first person I would like to thank for being here today is my amazing wife, Allison. I met Allison at Tulane University back in 1999. Here we are in 2016, and I absolutely hit the jackpot. She's the best and smartest person I've ever met in my life. 11-year practicing attorney, graduated in the top 3% of her law school, and she's the most amazing wife and the most incredible mother I could have ever imagined for my children. I love you very much. My mom and dad, Gary and Susan Cannizaro, just all the years of either coaching me, sitting in the stands and watching me all over the country. She's had 3 sons that have played the game. I promise you, she didn't know what she was signing up for when she met my dad years ago. She's probably seen more baseball than anybody in this room. And thank you for going everywhere and watching us play. Thank you. Gabrielle and Pierce, my amazing little girl, my phenomenal little boy, just 2 of the greatest miracles I could have ever asked for. Allison's smart like her mama. Gabrielle is smart like her mama. Allison's smart like her mom too. Gabrielle is smart like her mom. And Pierce is a left-handed hitting shortstop that doesn't swing and miss. So. Some of my college coaches, John had mentioned Rick Jones and Jim Schlossnagle. I want to thank those guys for giving me the opportunity to attend Tulane University. It was the school that I had dreamed of about when I was growing up and wanting to play at. My dad was an assistant coach there. I bat boyed there when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. It was a dream come true to play there. I was extremely lucky to play for Rick Jones and Jim Schlossnagle. So I want to thank those guys for shaping my college career and helping me get to the level that I could to get into professional baseball. Once I got into professional baseball, like John had mentioned, I was extremely fortunate enough to play for so many great minor league managers and coaches along the way. But the 2 that I would like to recognize and thank and mention today are Joe Torre and Joe Madden. You're talking about a Hall of Fame manager in Joe Torre and probably the best manager in baseball today in Joe Madden. Being around those guys in my mid-20s allowed me to see the type of leader that I wanted to be, knowing that when my baseball career finished, I wanted to get into coaching. I wanted to get into scouting. I wanted to stay in baseball. Seeing how those guys handled superstar players. Joe Torre managing teammates of mine like Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez and Robinson Cano, Bernie Williams, Mariano Rivera. Being around those guys every single day with the New York Yankees showed me how you have to carry yourself as a professional to be great at the game. And then several years later with the Tampa Bay Rays, being a part of that young team that ultimately played in the World Series later that October. So I had two managers that had managed a veteran-laden team and a young, energetic group that got to the World Series. So every single day that I was around those guys, I was able to take in different things that I knew I wanted to bring with me when I was able to get into the coaching world. So I want to thank those guys and everybody in those organizations with the New York Yankees and Tampa Bay Rays. After my playing career ended, I was extremely fortunate enough to go into the scouting world and take an amazing job and opportunity from the New York Yankees, where I was able to work for 5 years under the scouting director and one of the vice presidents for the New York Yankees, Damon Oppenheimer. Damon was an incredible mentor. He was an incredible role model and taught me so many great things about player and talent evaluation that I continue to use to this day. Trying to soak up as much as I can from him was something that I knew would benefit me for the rest of my life. So I'm incredibly grateful. Damon, thank you very much for all your time you spent with me. Thank you for letting me represent the New York Yankees at the Major League Baseball draft. It was an amazing time in my life. Thank you very much. Several other mentors that I would love to mention today include one of Damon's coworkers, an assistant to Brian Cashman, Jim Hendry. Jim Hendry was the former general manager for the Chicago Cubs, an amazing baseball man with so much knowledge that I was constantly picking his brain all the time from. An amazing baseball man that I consider a great friend to this day and keep in touch with all the time, and is always there for me to answer any questions I have. Several other mentors in professional baseball include Brian Cashman, the general manager for the New York Yankees. You know, being in charge of the greatest organization in professional sports is really incredible, and the success that he's had there is something that I've always looked up to. Personal friends with the Los Angeles Dodgers president, Andrew Friedman, that was a college classmate of mine, that's probably now one of the top front office guys in Major League Baseball. So I've had this opportunity to be around so many incredible baseball people that have truly shaped my life over the years. Everything that I learned in the player and talent evaluation world of professional baseball, I was able to bring with me to Louisiana State University. I was able to spend the last 2.5 years there coaching at LSU, being the recruiting coordinator, and using all the things that I'd learned from all these people that I had mentioned every day. I absolutely loved my job with the New York Yankees, but I knew that I had this drive to get on the field and be able to coach and teach and help young baseball players maximize their ability on the field. The last 2.5 years coaching at LSU have been some of the very best times of my life. The relationships that I built with those players are ones that I will remember for the rest of my life. I look at all those guys, and they've had some of the biggest impact on my career. Outside of me playing in the big leagues, coaching those group of guys has been one of the coolest things I've done in this game. I'd like to mention several of those guys, starting with players like Alex Bregman, Andrew Stevenson, Cade Savick, and finishing with guys like Kramer Robertson, Cole Freeman, Greg Dykman, and Antoine Duplantis. Those are just some of the guys that have absolutely touched my heart over the last 2.5 years, and I will love those kids for the rest of my life. While coaching at LSU, I was able to work for a Hall of Fame head coach in Paul Mainieri. Paul Mainieri was an amazing man to work for every day. His knowledge of the game, his understanding of what it takes to run a program was simply incredible. Had his pulse on everything that happened in the program. Every day that I went to work for Paul Mainieri, I went with my eyes and ears open. He was an incredible man to be around for the last 2.5 years, and I feel like being around Paul has truly prepared me to be the next head baseball coach at Mississippi State. So I want to thank Paul Mainieri from the bottom of my heart for giving me that opportunity to coach at LSU. I want to thank our entire coaching staff at LSU, pitching coach Alan Dunn, assistant Nolan Kane, and baseball operations guy Micah Gibbs for being an amazing group to go to work with every day with an awesome office environment. Thank you guys very much. I touched earlier about how honored and how privileged I am to be the head coach here at Mississippi State. We're talking about a program that has so much pride, so much tradition, so much national recognition. I'm blown away that at 37 years old that I was selected to be the head coach of this prestigious program. My family is extremely honored to be the newest member of the Mississippi State baseball family. So I want to thank Dr. Keenum, I want to thank John Cohen for giving me this amazing opportunity to lead this program into the future. John Cohen has done an incredible job at his alma mater, Mississippi State University. And you don't replace a head coach like John Cohen. You continue to build upon all the great things that he's done for this program. Just a few short years ago, this program competed for the national championship in the national championship game. What I want to do is continue to work, continue to grind, and continue to coach as hard as I can with our staff to help our players achieve our goal. Our goal here at Mississippi State University is to win the national championship. And there's only one way to make that happen. And we talked about that with our players in our first team meeting the other night, is we need to work as hard as we possibly can every single day. Give me everything you got. I will give you everything I have. Our coaching staff will give you everything we have to make you guys maximize your skill level. And if we can have each one of you guys performing at your highest level possible, then together as a team, we will be in Omaha, and we will be dogpiling on the mound, and we will be celebrating our first national championship. That's our goal. That's my goal. That's our coaching staff's goal. That's our amazing administration's goal, and our players have the same exact goal. We are going to do everything in our power to bring that first national championship back to Starkville and Mississippi State University. You know, I think we have so many incredible parts and pieces on our team this year to continue to build on the SEC championship team from a year ago. We've got returning All-Americans. We've got returning draft picks that elected to come back to school and continue to get their degree, earn more degrees. I just want you guys to know that competing against you guys last year in the SEC was a lot of fun because you guys played hard. There was intensity. There was a serious swagger with you guys every single day. And I'm so fired up to be a part of what you guys have built here. We're going to continue to do it. We're going to do it big. There's a really big scoreboard, a massive scoreboard that's going up in right field. And I told our guys, every time they turn that scoreboard on, we are going to light it up. We're going to play an aggressive style of baseball. We're going to play an aggressive style of baseball. We're going to hit. We're going to run. We're going to defend. We're going to pound the strike zone. We're going to steal bases. We're going to put pressure on the defense. We're going to play an amazingly fun brand of baseball that's going to be extremely entertaining to the greatest fans in college baseball. I cannot tell you guys how excited I am, okay, to be a part of this Mississippi State baseball family. And I'm looking forward to building on all the amazing things that you guys have built. Starting back with Ron Polk, Pat McMahon, John Cohen, Will Clark, Rafael Palmeiro, Jeff Brantley, Bobby Thigpen, to this generation's Adam Frazier's and Hunter Renfro's, and the two guys that I was fortunate enough to draft with the New York Yankees that Damon Oppenheimer ultimately selected, in Jacob Lindgren and Jonathan Holder. Guys, I can't mention everyone that's been a part of this program, but I want you guys to know all these names that we just mentioned have built this program. And this group that we have on the field this year, and the groups that we have coming, we've got tremendously talented kids that are coming to Mississippi State. They've done an incredible job recruiting. We're going to continue to build on all the recruiting things that have happened here at Mississippi State, and we are going to win that first national championship. We're going to have a blast playing baseball, and I cannot wait to see everybody out at the Dude this spring. All right? So thank you guys very much. I'm extremely honored, and I can't wait to get started. Hail State!
DavidMurrayDogsBite.com.
How you doing?
While scouting all those years, the games here, coaching on the dugout, did you ever look around and think, I could be head coach of this place someday?
You know, I always had goals and aspirations to be able to be a Division I head baseball coach at the highest level. And the SEC is the biggest, baddest league on the planet. And so to be able to be a head coach here at Mississippi State is extremely, I'm speechless. I'm honored, like I said. You know, the fans are amazing. Players play hard. The pride and the tradition is something that I always dreamed about being a part of. I can't tell you over and over again how excited I am to be here to represent this amazing university. So sitting in the stands and seeing it, I only dreamed about it. And now that it's a reality, I'm the most excited man on the whole planet.
Ben Wade, Commercial Dispatch in Columbus. Just curious how you're going to attack this final week of fall ball. I'm sure this is probably not what you envisioned when you became a head coach with such short time to prepare. But how do you attack this, and how much do you kind of lean on the assistants, Gary Henderson and Will Coggin, who've already
Yeah, that's a great question. I believe we have 9 practice dates left. You know, we're going to try to play an inter-squad as much as possible, just to give myself an opportunity to continue to evaluate the players that we have here, continue to see our arms throw, continue to see our hitters hit. I want to see us play defense. We had an awesome practice yesterday that exemplified all those things. You know, our entire staff here, Gary Henderson, Will Coggin, Mike Brown, the amazing Director of Baseball Operations, Lee Van Horn, who is an absolute rock star on this campus. He's walking with a lean right now because I've been on him so hard the last couple of days. So all you guys, thank you very much. Lee, thanks, man. I'm serious, thank you. But no, you know, Gary Henderson, without a doubt, is one of the very, very best pitching coaches in the country. And when this opportunity came to fruition, knowing that Gary was on this staff was a huge sigh of relief. I've spoken to so many people in college baseball and in professional baseball that have done nothing but sing his praises to the highest level. Gary is going to be a phenomenal pitching coach here at Mississippi State. He's going to get our guys ready to pitch, and he'll have them ready to go when the season starts. There's no doubt in my mind. Extremely honored to be on the same staff with Gary Henderson.
Joel Coleman, Starkville Daily News. It's probably a little bit unusual for the guy that you replaced to be the guy that hires you, but kind of along the same lines as the previous question, how much will you rely on John, or will it be more of a hands-off type relationship? You
know, I couldn't pick a better boss to work for in terms of an athletic director that understands what it takes to win at the highest level in college baseball. There's not a doubt in my mind that John wants to do everything possible to bring that first national championship back to Mississippi State, and I know he's going to be able to provide the resources necessary for us to obtain those goals. So the relationship that I have with John Cohen is I'm looking forward to it. I'm certainly going to lean on John. He has been one of the very best head coaches in the SEC for the last 15 years. And so there's a lot of questions that I'm going to have as a first-time head coach, and I'm very thankful that one of the best in the league is just right across the hallway, or right across the road, I guess. Right across the road. So to answer your question, I will lean on John a lot and looking forward to a great working relationship with him.
Hi, Andy. Mike Bonner from the Clarion Ledger. I know you met with the team a couple days back. What was that meeting like, and what did you try to convey to them?
Man, it was awesome. Just the opportunity to look at, an entire, team that I was the head coach at was amazing. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, I think I'm and try to be an extremely high energy guy. I want to coach and teach with passion. I want our guys to play extremely hard. I want our guys to represent this university at the highest level in the most first-class manner. Like I said, basically the biggest message I had out of that meeting was we were going to play hard, we're going to play fast, we're going to play with energy. We might even be over the top energy sometime, but we are going to have a blast playing baseball. We're going to play hard every single day. That's the program that we want to build, and that's our expectation level of our players.
How far did the relationship go back with John? When did you, I know playing at Tulane and being at LSU, but when did you kind of know John, and what do you know about him prior to?
Yeah, sure. Like John had mentioned, scouting with the New York Yankees for 5 years, I've spent so much time here in Starkville and so much time at this amazing stadium and loved so many of his players over the years. And, the way the draft works is you're not necessarily going to be able to get all the great players that come through all the programs. Other organizations and teams have those opportunities just like you do, and some of those guys get selected before you're able to take them. So I've had many conversations with John over the years about players, about Hunter Renfro's and Jacob Lindgren's and Jonathan Holder's and Adam Frazier's, Kendall Graveman, all these guys that are now in the big leagues and having amazing professional careers. So that relationship really started there, and then it continued in a different direction the last 2 years when we were ultimately competing against each other in opposite dugouts, and just had the utmost respect for everything that he had done with this program and how high of a level he had Mississippi State playing at. And just always admired everything that he had done previously at Kentucky and now at Mississippi State from afar, but knowing how great of a baseball guy he was, how great of a leader he is. So those are the things, that really impressed me with John, and certainly wanted to get to know him and pick his brain as much as possible about college baseball, because I knew ultimately I wanted to get into the game one day.
Logan Lowry, Tupelo Daily Journal. With signing day just a few days away, how much have you had time to touch base with some of the guys that are committed, and what kind of reaction have you gotten from those?
Sure. We've our staff and Will Coggin has been outstanding, our recruiting coordinator, in terms of, touching base with all of our commits, getting me in touch with all of our commits, and just wanting to reassure all of these kids in high school how fired up I am to be the head coach here at Mississippi State, and how fired up I am to coach these guys. And anytime you have some coaching turnover, there's going to be some uncertainty in young kids' and parents' minds in terms of a particular staff that they may have committed to that's not presently in the building any longer. But Will Coggin, Gary Henderson, and our entire staff have been killing the phone lines the last couple of days. And we've had an amazing response from players, kids that have fell in love with Mississippi State University and are dying to play here at this program, and all of these guys are on board and ready to roll.
Coach Chris Hutchison, WLBT, touching on to that, what is going to be your approach in recruiting future classes of Bulldogs?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. I'm a really big believer, and a lot of it came from the foundation from Damon Oppenheimer and the New York Yankees, of trying to identify the tools, hit, power, field, run, throw, staying with the tools, your 5 tools in baseball, identifying premium athletes on the field that can play a variety of position and then ultimately have versatility on the field. You know, I love having shortstops that can play all over the field. Love having athletes in center field. I love having guys that can do a multiple role of things on your baseball team. Our goal is going to be to recruit student athletes that are very serious about earning their degree from Mississippi State University, are very serious about giving us an extreme and supreme effort every single day they touch the field, following those 5 tools, figuring out what tools fit at what particular positions. One of the things that I've really relied a lot on, and it's been a really awesome relationship the last couple of years, has been the relationship that I've been able to build up with the professional scouting community. The scouting community and the area scouts and the national cross-checkers and the scouting directors like Damon, they see everybody from coast to coast. And I want to thank all those area scouts that took me under their wing back in 2010 and directed me in the right direction, where I wasn't just running around with like a chicken with my head cut off, stopping at every game where the lights were on. So those guys were extremely important to me. I've leaned on those guys heavily the last couple of years at LSU, and will continue to lean on those guys heavily, and want those guys to know that I want them to be a major part of our baseball program here at Mississippi State. Those guys are welcome in our program, welcome in our offices, and welcome around our ballpark as much and as often as those guys ever want to be here. All of our guys the other day raised their hand saying that they wanted to play in the big leagues. I think every one of them raised their hand. So we're going to give those guys the opportunity to evaluate our players as much as they need to do to allow our players' dreams to come true. So thank you to all the scouting community, particularly the area scouts that work the Deep South that I've known for so many years now. Your relationship to me means so much, and I want you guys a major, major part of our program moving forward.
Coach Steve Robertson with dogsbiteandgenespatch.com. From a facility standpoint, is there anything that you need or you'd like to see added going forward?
Well, first and foremost, I know there's a massive new baseball stadium project that's under development right now. Dudy Noble is as historic of a stadium as you're going to find in the country. You've got the left field lounge that's an amazing home field advantage. The new stadium is going to be incredible. It's going to be the finest facility in all of college baseball. And I know John, as the athletic director, is going to do everything in his power to create that home field environment and that home field advantage that we've always had here. And I know there's so many awesome things in the works and things that he wants to do with that stadium that's going to completely put it over the top and keep that home field advantage and make this an extremely tough place to play.
Coach, Danny Smith, Starkville Daily News. Welcome to Starkville.
Thank you
Just
very
talk
much.
about the interview process. Was it a whirlwind kind of thing? Just talk about what the last few days have been for you.
Whirlwind would be an understatement. Friday morning, we had a meeting in Baton Rouge, a 7 a.m. meeting with all of our players, letting them know what was going on. More than likely, if things continue to go according to plan, that there was a really good opportunity that I was going to be the next head baseball coach here at Mississippi State. And that was one of the hardest meetings that I've ever had in my life. You know, I love those kids so much over there, and they played so hard for us every day, and they gave us everything they had. There were a lot of tears in that room between myself and our players who were tough as nails, and just, it was a really sad, emotional time. And then later that night, becoming the head baseball coach at Mississippi State and addressing an entire new group of players, which is something that I'm still trying to get my head around. This has been one of the craziest 72 hours of my life, and probably one of the best 72 hours of my life as well. And I know at some point it'll slow down, but until then, we're just going to take it one step at a time. We're going to continue to just do things one at a time and not try to do too many things simultaneously, because I feel like if you just concentrate on one thing at a time, you nail it and you move on and go to the next piece. Ultimately, these players are going to get our very best effort every day, and we've got 9 practices left, and I know they're going to be 9 phenomenal practices with a ton of energy that's going to culminate with, I think, a 3-game set at the end and some type of World Series that we had talked about, that I would love to see as many fans as possible at our series. I believe it's going to be next weekend. Still trying to get our head around the schedule with Gary. Gary's been incredible planning the last couple of weeks and what we've got moving forward. So when we do play those last couple of games of the fall, I would seriously love to see as many Mississippi State baseball fans there as possible. Bring your cowbells. Let's get after it. Let's create an awesome atmosphere to play baseball in.